It's time for a quick rebuttal. The Force of Star Wars is a metaphysical concept that grants amazing abilities to a select few individuals. Its energy surrounds the characters, binds them. They are luminous beings, not crude matter. They feel the Force around them. Between them, the trees, rocks, everywhere. But can we get some consistency? Telekinesis, Force Choke, Force Lightning, the ability to come back as a ghost. All of these are shown by Jedi and Sith throughout the series. However, there is an inherent problem by spreading these abilities around so many characters. How can there be an average Force user? While I have no doubt that people like Luke are powerful, the idea that there is a basic level of Jedi or Sith somewhat devalues them as a whole. I can understand there being thousands of Jedi in existence because Star Wars does take place in a larger galaxy, where that many could still be considered a small group, though perhaps the degree shown in the prequel trilogy was the wrong call. Indeed, this idea was part of the reason Darth Bane reconfigured the Sith into merely having two at a time. These power levels make some characters seem a little too strong. I don't think I need to remind you of the Emperor's return in the We Wish We Could Forget Dark Empire series, or people such as Kyle Katarn and Galen Merrick, who border on Mary Sue levels of power, or Revan, who actually did reach that point. Look, just listen to me. When you have a character that never loses and is praised by all regardless of being an ally or an opponent, you're characterizing them wrong. Then there's the uniqueness of abilities. This is more prominent in the dark side, but I want to talk about a few abilities that either side of the Force can use. The Jedi Mind Trick is fairly consistent among all participants, so there's no issue there. But then there's Battle Meditation. When it's used by Jorah Sabuth, or more specifically his clone, in the Thrawn trilogy, it is able to give the Imperial Remnant a boost of power. In Knights of the Old Republic, Bastila's use of battle meditation made combatants nearly invincible, to the point that taking her out of the fight was the only way to defeat the army she was using the ability for. In the case of the former, it can be overcome with great effort, while the latter makes it impossible to compensate for unless the user is taken out of the equation. True, the Sabuth clone was suffering from clone insanity, while Bastila was sane and focused when using her battle meditation. Then there's the dark side, specifically Force Lightning, though this does apply to a lesser degree with various others. It is iconic when the Emperor uses it, thus we are shown pretty much all it takes to use it is to just be a Sith or Dark Jedi, and that's about it. Remember this line from Revenge of the Sith? As much of an internet meme as it has become, it implies a certain power that really only the Emperor should have. And while it's true the Emperor probably is the most dangerous villain of the series until the Yuuzhan Vong showed up, and is definitely the most evil out of all of them, it does, however, bring about the diminishing value of Force Lightning. When Mr. Plinkett talked about Force Lightning, he mentioned how it seemed to be cheapened when more characters used it. And this leads to an even bigger problem with the dark side. How is it that a Jedi Padawan can struggle, but the moment they turn to the dark side, they can suddenly become a huge, galaxy-spanning threat, as we saw with Exar Kun and Darth Revan? Though if I am going to play devil's advocate, this is somewhat consistent with a conversation between Luke and Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. How the dark side is quicker, easier, more selective. Going back to an earlier point, seeing just anyone who is an evil Force user using Force Lightning doesn't make it all that special, but it does relate to what Yoda says and why characters seem inexplicably stronger once they're evil. But again, we have to go back to the mooks found in Jedi Outcast, Academy, and Knights of the Old Republic, where the character can fight off multiple enemies at once regardless of the skill the character has. And yes, I mean the character, not the player, so of course they're going to be just fine. So I guess this dichotomy only exists for characters who have names? Well, if Jolie's wife is any indication, a woman who was trained as a Jedi in secret for a short time before becoming a Sith, and then, according to Jolie, went on to kill many Jedi despite the limited training, yeah, it looks that way. Well, I better cut this off before it becomes fanwank, but suffice to say, at this point the Force is whatever the plot wants it to be. And how believable a character's power level is will always be in question. After all, we don't want to start saying a certain Force user's power level is over 9,000 or something like that. Thank you for this quick rebuttal. And now, it's time for yours.